Ooh, what's this? Oh, it's a game. Oh, this must be the rulebook. Wow, that looks pretty intense. There's a lot of pages, really tiny, tiny writing. That looks hard. Well, let's just play with the rest of it. Well, I got chits and discs and different colors, and oh, it looks like it might even have some animals in there. Ooh, what are these? I think this game is about stacking tiles, so I'm going to stack a bunch of tiles. In second grade, we had this old copy of Monopoly in the classroom, and it was squished flat, and the money was everywhere, and the pieces were everywhere. And you know, the kids, we didn't care what the rules were. We didn't care about what we were supposed to do with it. We had so much fun just playing with the houses, playing with the money, playing with the board, playing with the cards, and figuring out our own rules. You know, in some ways it was self-regulated learning. We learned to communicate, we learned to negotiate. And what we're going to look at in a lot of the Sandbox technologies that I'm going to show you today are areas where students can go in and regulate their own learning. So just as a contrast, here is that same game I opened up earlier, implemented for the iOS. And it has all the same cards, all the same components, all the same interesting pieces. It's beautiful, it's functional, it's a wonderful game. But this is not a sandbox. The rules tell me how I'm going to play this game. I'm constrained by the software package to follow the rules as outlined in that original rulebook. So let's look at something better. I have a game called Keyflower, and again, I can open it up and it's got all these amazing pieces and amazing possibilities that I can play with, but how do we retain that sense of play? This is a platform called Tabletopia, and Tabletopia is a sandbox. Though it has all the components and all the interesting things, it does not restrict how I use the components. Additionally, it actually goes beyond that, and it's a model I'd like to see implemented in that it allows you to import your own game components, make your own games, and ultimately teach your own games. In some ways, it's really the perfect model of what I'd like to see a sandbox environment do, in that someday faculty will be able to create their own simulations, their own areas for their students to play in. Besiege! So let's play with this. Here, I can engineer a siege engine. So I build it, and now I can test it and see if I can knock down the given objective, in this case a house. So I managed to knock down a little hamlet there. So now the game presents me with a new context to use my siege engine. And though it succeeds in killing a chicken, it can't make it up the hill to this new windmill here. So now I have the chance to re-engineer my vehicle. So my initial thoughts are, well, why don't I build a spike off the front of my vehicle that will avoid the hill and puncture my vehicle? Let's test it. Well, this is no good because when I roll up the hill, I'm top heavy, I flip over. So this allows iterative testing. I can try new things. What I think I need is something to offset my spike, something to create balance. So let's lengthen my chassis, add some more wheels like a big rig, and see if we can get some more support at the bottom. Well, that just worked great. And people aren't limiting themselves to siege engines. They're building steam trains, and they're building flying machines like Da Vinci. And of course, all of this comes from Legos. I really can't express how big an impact Legos have had on my life and the lives of so many others. With the Lego Digital Designer, I can build anything, any brick that was ever available to Lego buyers. You can build in here, and you can actually export what you build into Lego's persistent worlds, and people are using them to build like massive models of the QE2. Or if you want to get more literary, if you want to actually turn it into assignment, people are using it to build different levels of hell, or different circles of hell, as described in Dante's Inferno. So here you can see the giant Nimrod stuck in the mud, and here you can see Lucifer the devil frozen in the pit of hell, in the lowest level of hell. And of course, this has all led to Minecraft, and I'm going to let Minecraft tell you about Minecraft.
Let's go to a place where everything is made of blocks, where the only limit is your imagination. Let's go wherever you want to go. Climb the tallest mountains. Venture down to the darkest caves. Build anything you want. Day or night, rain or shine. Because this is the most significant sandbox you'll ever set foot in. Build a majestic castle. Invent a new machine, or take a ride on a roller coaster. Play with friends. Build your own little community. Protect yourself with the strongest armor that you can craft, and fight off the dangers of the night. No one can tell you what you can or cannot do, with no rules to follow. This adventure, it's up to you.
Minecraft is the most used sandbox technology in modern classrooms, and one of the best places to see how Minecraft is being used is minecraftedu.com. This is a specifically engineered version of Minecraft that is intended for faculty and instructors to edit and create their own scenarios for their individual classrooms. Let's take a look at how people are using Minecraft. It's being used to teach water conservation. It's being used to teach programming. It's being used to teach art and recreation of artworks. It's being used to teach cooperation. It's being used to teach civics. It's being used to teach city planning and cartography, map making. One of the most exciting usages is University of Illinois, their TCIPG World of Power, where students examine different ways of power generation and how that affects the environment, from coal to solar to wind power. It's really exciting. Kerbal Space Program. Kerbal Space Program is a hyper-realistic sandbox game. In this game, using true-to-life physics models, you research, build, test, redesign, retest spacecraft. These spacecraft can be as simple as space stations in orbit or shuttles, or they can be full-blown explorations to other planets like Mars. So if you're watching in the background of this video, you'll see the little space people ultimately make it and land it to Mars. But to do that, the person had to calculate how much fuel was needed to burn, how the actual spacecraft would land, and more. So it's really, really complicated. Like Minecraft EDU, Kerbal EDU is a version of the game that is intended specifically for use in the classroom. And to make it a little more approachable, they kind of slim down some of the higher levels of complexity. Classes are using this to study the history of space development. They're using it in engineering classrooms like at Penn State University to get people used to talking about iterative design. They're using it to document scientific results. They're also using it to examine different roles. Somebody plays the engineer, someone's the pilot, someone's the flight control, someone's the project manager, and then they talk about what they learn. Universe Sandbox 2. Universe Sandbox 2 is not a game in any traditional sense. Unlike Minecraft, where you do want to stay alive, here there are really no objectives. This is a gravity simulator at its core, and for science enthusiasts, it's a lot of fun. You can see how the planets revolve around each other. You can add moons and see how the moons revolve around the planets, but more than that, you can build stars, you can build planets, you can collide the moon into the earth. You can do all sorts of crazy things. One of the nice things about version 2 of this game is they've brought on climatologists, and you can actually model what happens when you add too much CO2 into an atmosphere. So you have real-time modeling of all sorts of astrological events, all within a beautiful, elegant, unlimited sandbox. This is truly where I hope Sandbox games go for the classroom, where they really model real-world situations and do not limit how you interact with that content. This is real learning by playing. So in that spirit, I'm going to wrap up by talking about some things I've learned. As I pelt Africa with an asteroid, I've learned that the debris kicked up from an asteroid can be almost as devastating as the asteroid itself. I've learned that if you add an extra moon into the atmosphere, they can collide. I learned that if a moon collided with the Earth, it would burn off the atmosphere and would also burn off any water on the planet and turn us into a mini sun for thousands and thousands of years to come. And wouldn't that be exciting? But I've learned all of this by playing. And isn't that grand?